Across this lake there was a bridge, a 1 mile long bridge to the other side, which is just south of Seneca Falls. In 1825, in June of 1825, Marquis de Lafayette crossed this bridge across Cayuga Lake here and ended up here, which is up that hill, the village of Cayuga. What's interesting is back in 1795, this area didn't have a bridge. It had a ferry. It was called Cayuga Ferry. And in 1795, Alexander Hamilton visited here with his father-in-law, Philip Schuyler, and they conducted a treaty to take almost all of the remaining land from the Cayuga Reservation, which was this area here and the area across the lake. In April of 1795, they had already given up almost all of that land, but they had held a small bit. And in July of 1795, Alexander Hamilton was here for a few days. Actually, about probably almost a week he was actually here, traveling 3 weeks from Albany up the Mohawk River, across land to the Oneida River, and then he would have come down from this end. This is the north end of the lake where it empties into the Seneca River, which flows all the way to the Oneida Lake past Syracuse, where the Onondaga Lake is, and connects into what we would call the Oswego River, or back then it was also called the Onondaga River, or even Seneca River. And so my question is, why was Hamilton here in 1795? And why did Lafayette come here 30 years later? Almost to the day, 30 years later. A little bit of a 6 weeks short. But this area back then would have been the terminus of the bridge when Lafayette was here. Today it's a park. There's a railroad track there, so you can see the railroad station here, which would have come up the east side of Cayuga Lake. And north of it was an industrial area. There was all kinds of, in the 19th century, all kinds of different factories all along that part of the lake there. Far to the north, I don't know if you can really tell, there is the railroad bridge crosses, and you can see the farm there on the left hand side up on the hill. That is actually above where the railroad track is on that side. It's sort of a high point there, and then as you can see the cars traveling across, they go down a hill and then cross the rail tracks at the bottom where the woods are there. But this area was held by the Cayuga as part of their ancestral lands, their territory. That part of the lake, that side of the lake, was also Cayuga. All the way down south at the end of the lake, approximately 36 miles from here, we have Ithaca. The water flows north, which is to my right, and empties out into Lake Ontario, the Seneca River up that way, and now it's all canaled. So it's a very different sort of lake. Probably when the bridge was here, this was probably very marshy, because it's very, very shallow at this end of the lake. The water here is only a couple feet deep, but if you go out, there's a channel that's essentially where the river passes through, the ancestral river that birthed this lake before it got dammed up by the glaciers. There's a channel that passes through, and then even the other side, if you go over to the other side, let's say it's winter time and you're parking over there at Cayuga State Park, walk across the ice to ice fish. You come out a pretty decent amount of the way across before you hit enough depth to really fish, because otherwise it's just a couple feet deep. So, really interesting piece of land here, and water.